G'day everyone, thanks for stopping by. Look, today's video is going to be a real short one. I know I've said that before, it doesn't always work out that way. But I've been away camping just last weekend with a few of the guys from work. And one of the guys, Glenn, has picked up some folding solar panels off eBay that I thought you might like to have a look at. Now the review's not too in-depth. We've got some readings off my controller in the van and some readings off his little watt meter that he had there as well. Obviously there were a lot of people around with all the other people we're camping with, so we couldn't take up too much time or be too rude by playing around with the gear. So here's a quick look at the solar panels that he's grabbed. He did pay, I think he said 227. When we looked at the seller he got them from, they've gone up to around about the 270, but I think they can be had for around about the 240 mark. Link down in the description if you're interested in these. Really nice bit of kit. They fold up really well. I'm not sure how I felt about how efficient they were. And we had people wandering around, we had clouds coming over. So I didn't get to do as specific a test as I would have liked. Thanks very much to Glenn for letting me have a play with these and checking them out. Here we go, have a squeeze. So we are out camping and we've got a perfect opportunity to do a quick review here on some folding solar panels that one of the guys has brought with him. Glenn and Joe are set up over there in their caravan. Ian and Marie here. We're all up at Ferndale Caravan Park. We've got our solar panels here. Now, I'm actually done a hookup this weekend, which is something I usually don't do. So that being said, I haven't actually hooked up my solar panels, which is convenient for this test, because we're going to plug these straight into my solar input, and that should give us a good idea of what sort of output these are putting out. Glenn's been very happy with these. These are an eBay special, and I'll put a link down below, an affiliate link down below in the description, so you can find these. They're around about the $200 mark. I think around about possibly 260. Again, information and stuff on the screen there or down in the description. And we'll give you a look at these. He's just said, look, you know, if you want to grab them and plug them in and test them out and do a quick review on them, more than happy. So we've grabbed them. Yeah, let's have a look. So as you can see, they are the folding panel type and they are quite light. Glenn said they rated, I think they're around about 7 or 8 kilo. I don't know whether they feel quite that heavy. And they're made in this really interesting sort of blue, almost denim-like material. I'm not sure whether they come in different colours, but again, we'll stick that up on the screen if it does. This is the output from the panels themselves. A little bit of a Velcro there, and the MC4 connectors. This is what comes on it. As everybody does, Glenn has switched it over for an Anderson plug. It just makes it much easier, a bit more compatible with everybody else's gear and your own usually, and people prefer the Anderson plugs over the MC4s anyway. The cable that come with it looks like about a 5 meter length, and you can see it is a decent gauge cable. He was very impressed with that when he pulled that out. I'm quite surprised by the thickness of the cable that was supplied, being that these were so cheap. What we're going to do is just plug that into the side of the van and go straight into my controller. It does come with a little controller, and we think that it is a 10 amp. It isn't marked on the actual box or the controller itself, but Glenn has noted that when these have hit 10 amps it seems to cut out and go back like it's being throttled at 10 amps, so quite possible it's a 10 amp controller. These are the back of the panels themselves here, and these are the stands, just velcroed. They just lift up like that and then provide the support or the stand for the back of the panels. These could be a little bit stiffer, and it is just a pocket, so you could probably put something a bit stiffer into this itself, but it's just a plastic inside here. They're a really nice looking panel. There are a few, I guess, things to spot. You can see a bit of a foil or a bit of a connection here. Just every now and then you'll see just spots where they're just not perfect, but they are still outputting a good amount of power. That's what they look like in situ. Now they're not very adjustable from the back. You can see those are the stands that are on the back, and they do a good enough job. I suppose there is some level of adjustability on those. There's a bit of elastic that just holds those in place, stops them from coming back in. Now if there's any wind, that's going to blow those over. We were talking, a friend Steve, VK2UD, I'll put a link up there to his channel where he's got the kick-ass panels, which were about $1,000, so about four or five times the price of these ones. And they certainly have some improvements over these cheap ones. One of the things notably was that these sort of stand things are metal, so you can put a peg through these to hold these down, and they could certainly use some sort of a hole in the corner so you can peg them down, so when it gets windy they don't blow away. Okay, so we're just going to plug these in. Anderson plug into our Anderson plug. Just like that. There we go. Okay, so we're inside the van. This is our controller here for our EP Ever. This is excellent. We're already seeing 7.3 amps coming out of this. So it's charging up our battery. I can hear our fridge running in the background, which is taking 3.2 amps. So what we're going to do is throw a few things on. And I think I can probably get up around about the 8 amps, maybe push this. And because obviously if I don't have appliances inside the van that are pulling any current out of that, then we're not going to get the maximum output out of those panels, and that's not going to be the panel's fault. It's going to be simply because we're not using that current available to. Let's start flicking a few things on, Fridge is on, outside light, inside lights. That's about all we've got unless we start sticking things on charge. As you can see, I've sort of had a hook up, so I've been making the most of that. Only using 5.3 amps, but the good news is we're actually getting 5 amps going into the battery. So you can see here we're getting 16.7 from the panels. It's volts, 7.8 amps, and we're converting that over to what's that, around about 10.3. So we've actually got 4.9 going in the battery and 5.4 we're actually using currently for appliances. That'd be the fridge, the fan that we just turned on. So there you go. We're getting basically about 11 amps out of that at the moment, and that's pretty much because we've topped out everything we can charge, etc. But very convenient sort of size panels these, for the way they pack up and storage, etc. So for an extra 10 amps or 11 that we're seeing there, possibly more if we had more stuff that we could use, I'd be very, very happy with these for the price you paid. Are you happy with your panel so far?
Yeah, I get good power out of them.
Yep.
The only thing I'm wondering is whether they'll blow over in the wind.
Yeah. I did make mention a bit earlier that, like you're saying, put a couple of eyelets or something in it. Are you going to do that though, do you think?
I'll wait and see.
Yeah, okay, all right. Just see whether it happens, whether it's needed.
So another bit of fabric like on here and have like a rope down, you know what I mean? Like
just peg it back.
And then just peg it down. Like you could have 3 of those along there.
Of course, they're saying the challenge was you don't know whether there's any connectivity between here. It doesn't feel like, it just feels like material, doesn't it?
You just do it on this bit here, like.
Yeah.
I think, like you were saying about tying it down if it got windy. I said you could always just make a strip of fabric, sew it on there, and then have an eyelet and tie it down to peg it down.
I'd do like you did with your other solar panel and build a frame for it. So you could have this hanging off the back of your van right now, really, couldn't you?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But again, there is no way to hook it up, is there? There's no eyelets or anything on the corner to be able to. And I think that's its only downfall. That's the only thing that I can see that sort of lets it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit more practical. That's my little 40 watter from Aldi.
Oh, this one doesn't have the little eyelets either, does it?
Oh, not on that end. It does on this end.
Does. So that's just one.
Oh, just on the end, yeah.
So maybe you'd have to hang it vertical.
Hang it long ways.
Yeah. I've had that for about 5 years, that thing. It was $100 from Aldi. It's actually, I think they were around about $200 when they come out. But you know when they sit there for so long?
Yeah,
and then
get reduced down.
Yeah, and it was reduced down to about half price. And I saw that and I went, oh, I'll have that, thanks. I'd kept an eye on it and they come down. Oh, yep, yoink, I'll have that. But it's barely been used. It just sits in there. That would have been $200 for a 40 watt panel. Yeah.
$5 a watt.
Yeah, and that's 5 years ago. But it's got a little controller in it, but it's more for doing USB type stuff.
Charge your phone up in a hurry.
Yeah. And dogs walking on it. Yeah, because it is getting some sort of separation here in the corner. But it doesn't seem to be wrecking it. But
does this go into watts as well, or just volts and amps?
I think I can go through a readout, possibly.
Power 72.
There you go. Yeah.
515s. 91. That's 91's coming out of the panel.
I guess so. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It does say PV. Yep. Here's the solar panel, man. What's this one? This one's the 160.
160. 8 amps.
Okay, yeah. That's a lot smaller, isn't it?
It's only about half the size. Converted to an Anderson.
Yep, okay. So that one down the bottom there's 40. Well, we say 160 and 200 for the one at the back. So I paid $100 for that, but that was meant to be about 200 at Aldi about 5 years ago. What was the 160?
It was a little while ago. It's up 330 or so.
About 330, and you paid 260 for the 200.
Something like
260, 230.
240 about
240, okay.
with the controller.
Jeez, it's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, just plug that
The 160 in. So with the 160 plugged in, so it's 18.5 volts, 4 amps, or just under. So if this goes to negative, that means I'm now pulling off the battery. So we're pulling about 0.3 amps off the battery. Oh, there you go, it's catching up. So we're even, so I'm pulling out 5.7 amps at, I don't know, 13 volts. But, where is it there? 73.9 watts. Bloody peanut gallery, look at this.
Yeah, it's very... It's the big panel. 110, is it?
Yeah, 115. Yeah, still going.
Yeah. Don't know why it's going up and up.
We'll just see what I'm getting on there. So what are you sitting around about 120? What's that, 15.7 volts or something? Yeah, 114.3 I'm seeing at the moment. 121?
Yep, 122, 121, 118.
Yeah.
Pretty accurate.
117. Half. Good test.
I might have a look for one for them.
Yeah, I think I'll
Some
be.
other ones.
I think I'll grab a set.
The only time I'd ever use them is in the caravan.
Yes.
So
Which means they've got to stay in the
They've got to
caravan,
stay
so
in the
you're
caravan.
packed up. Yeah.
that size can fit under the bed.
No, they're a real good size, those.
My solar kettle.
Is that your little 12-volt kettle?
Yeah, my solar one. I run it off the solar.
Little fella, isn't it?
Yeah, we just run it off the solar. When the caravan battery's full, I just use the spare solar.
Yeah, just
it's
to-
going nowhere.
Okay, so a little
Just
coil
to
in there.
boil
So it's got a
it,
little
and then I
battery in
just
it?
pour it into the flask.
Well, how do you run off the solar without
Then I do another one. And
without
then
a
I've got water for hot water for
Oh,
this and that,
okay.
and then instead of having to go and boil
Once the
kettle
battery's
and-
full.
Yeah.
It'd be quicker to do it on the fire, though, wouldn't it?
No?
Have you got a gas thing?
Yeah,
in
but
that
I
yet?
don't have to use it. I can when the battery's full.
We're full and
It's
not
full.
using
Yeah, you can get it for free, I
And I
know.
get when down to the Anderson he's made on the outside of the van.
Two Dicky 18 chips. The box at the front, plugged in, so it's only 18.
So that doesn't have a pocket for the lead?
No,
No, okay. That's no biggie though, is it?
it's a bit of a nuisance, but it seems to poke in it
Yeah.
because it's got the Velcro.
No, yeah.
It seems to stay there.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was actually an Australian one.
Okay.
It wasn't. It was only a week or two.
So you could have possibly got them cheaper if you bought from China or something, do you know?
No, I browsed around. It was
That seemed to be the cheapest price?
comparable, yeah.
Okay. But you reckon in your controller's only a 10 amper?
It seems like it because once it reaches 10, it just stops.
Cuts it back, yeah. It still keeps charging at 10 or doing whatever it's at 10, but just doesn't go beyond it? Or when it hits the limit, it cuts out altogether?
I think when it reaches that 10 limit,
Yeah.
it cuts itself out.
Turns itself off?
It turns off.
Yeah.
It's not charging, so it turns back on again straight away.
Oh, okay.
And then it'll go, oh, I'm over. I'll just turn back off again.
Oh, shit, okay.
But even when it's regulating, once the battery's full,
Yes.
it's just off or on. It's
Yeah.
not really.
But it's not hitting that 10 amps and then staying sort of around that 10 and yeah, it's a bugger. When you bought it, did you have the option of going with a bigger controller or not?
Even say how big
It was just whatever come with it. Just think you've...
assumed it'd be big enough for 200 watts.
Well, yeah, it'd make more sense, wouldn't it? Yeah. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks very much for stopping by. Again, link to the panels down in the description below where Glenn got his from that seller. I remember him being pretty impressed with how quickly they arrived. And that's about it. Thanks very much for stopping by. I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.